Hello everybody out there in the viewing world, and welcome to my favorite game I've posted on this channel. Why, do you ask, is it such a good game? Well, first off, I got a Broab with Sawcasm. And for those of you who don't know what a Broab is, it's essentially when two people get a M.O.A.B in the same game. For those of you who don't know who Sawcasm is, he's quite a big YouTuber. I think he's around 19,000 subs, and he's quite funny, so I suggest and recommend his channel any day of the week. Now, what else makes this game so cool is that it's my first support M.O.A.B I've ever gotten. I was using UAV and Ballistic Vest, which I think is a very good setup for trying to get a support M.O.A.B, because you get a UAV every 4 kills and a Ballistic Vest every 5. And that feels very rewarding when trying to go for M.O.A.B, because you get that and you get something as you work up to a M.O.A.B. You get it every 5th, 10th, 15th, 20th, and 25th kill, and it just feels great earning stuff all the way up to the M.O.A.B. It's has a more of a rewarding feeling than the specialist bonus because of that. However, the specialist bonus has a better feel because you have every single perk. You're moving like crazy. It just feels really good. Now, the map, this is my fourth or 5th time playing this map, and I have to say, it's not one of my favorite maps, but it's definitely not a bad map. I wish they'd fix their spawn points a little bit, and it'd be much better of a map. The domination points are relatively close together, and it's easy to get from one point to the other without much trouble, unless you run into a whole horde of guys, then you're going to have a little bit of trouble, but otherwise it's not too bad. You can get from one point to the other relatively fast, and especially if you have like the specialist bonus and a SMG or shotgun or something else with low mobility, and you can just get there and either save a point or capture point fast, especially if you have some teammates helping out. But yeah, so other than that, you know, this map's not it's not too bad. I mean, like I said, the spawn points, fix them, and it's a decent map. The points of interest on this map are this hallway I'm currently in right now, the building behind it right to my right now, and the B alleyway. This whole map is kind of like a square, but the dom point's kind of like a triangle, so I mean, there's a lot of shapes getting thrown around right now, but you know, it's really easy. It's an easy map to run. It's an easy map to run around on. There are a few corners, so SitRep Pro does help, and that leads into what perks I was using for this game. I was using Scavenger, which I think is mandatory for trying to get an assault or support M.O.A.B, because you have to have ammo constantly, and I usually run out about my 5th or 6th kill, so I kind of need it relatively fast, especially because I had a stinger on my back on this game, so I didn't really have a secondary to help me out. I had my MP7 and my C4, but otherwise I was kind of busted, so I definitely had Scavenger this game. And I guess if you want to try and attempt to pick up somebody else's gun, then you know you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend it, because you may not know how the gun feels. You may not just be able to play with it as well, which could result in your death while you're on a high streak. And there's not much of a worse feeling in Call of Duty than having that happen to you. So I'd definitely pick Scavenger as my perk for Tier 1. For Tier 2, I don't see why anybody would pick anything but Assassin, unless you are just keeping UAVs out of the sky. Then maybe you could go with Hardline, and I don't see why it's really worth it, just being able to get the M.O.A.B in one less kill, or maybe a few less, depending on if you get those Hardline assists. But it's not worth it to me to be able to be exposed like that to UAVs and portable radars and heartbeats, whatever else picks you up on radar when you're not having Assassin. I suppose if you ran Blind Eye as your Tier 1 perk, you'd be doing alright, because you could just blow up UAVs out of the sky, but then you'd have to worry about getting shot while you're trying to do that, and you might run into some portable radars and stuff like that, so you couldn't really, you know, you'd have some troubles with those. I guess if you had SitRep Pro like I do, which is also my Tier 3 perk, obviously, then you'll be able to see where those portable radars are. And I use SitRep Pro because obviously I have a headset, and SitRep Pro and headset is so much win, it's ridiculous. It's almost like Type 95. Such a good combination. I mean, even if you don't have a headset, SitRep Pro is pretty good. being able to hear where people are on the enemy team, it just gives you such a nice advantage. Being able to hear dead silence users who are normally supposed to be unhearable, you get to hear them, and that also helps you out and doesn't let people sneak up on you. And it's definitely something I'm interested in. If you don't have SitRep Pro or you don't like using it for whatever reason, I would pick Marksman or Stalker as my tier 3 perk. Marksman is such a good perk, because you know, if somebody's hiding behind a bush, sometimes you can see them, and I don't know how many people I've seen that I couldn't normally with the assist Marksman. Now that wraps up for all the perks I was using. Onto the support subject. I was running support for Sawcasm, and everybody else on the team that you see, all the ballistic vests, were also. I don't really think I picked up any of their vests. I think I mostly just used mine, and I guess I used the UAV, which obviously is not something you can help but use teammates' UAVs, because it's kind of there, and unless you don't look at the radar, which I constantly check, then you know, you just about gotta use UAVs, which there's no problem in that. It's kind of what it's there for. But there you see Sawcasm got his M.O.A.B. And if all of you are subscribed to Sawcasm and you've seen his view of this game, of what he posted in his M.O.A.B., and I pick up my M.O.A.B. shortly after. I think I go on one more UAV ballistic vest streak, and then I get it. I think this is my fourth set of ballistic vests and UAVs. I think it's weird though. I started this game. I think I started where I was one off a ballistic vest or something like that. So it was kind of weird how it worked out. I got a ballistic vest and M.O.A.B. at the same time. So whatever. I think I'm about to pick it up. I don't know how I didn't see this guy in the hallway right here, but it's a good thing he was AFK or whatever. So I pick up the M.O.A.B. and I kind of checked with Sawcasm, make sure it's alright if I call it and all that. And for those of you who think I'm trying to leech off Sawcasm's name, that's not the case, because I sent him a message and asked him if it would be alright if I used it, if I can title and all that. So if you liked the video, please like it. If you didn't, then hit that dislike button. And until the next video, I am out.